The UK and the US have agreed to amend the anomaly that allowed Harry Dunn's alleged killer, Anne Sacoolas, to claim diplomatic immunity, the Foreign Secretary has said. Harry was killed, of course, at the age of 19 when his motorbike crashed into a car outside the US military base in Northamptonshire in August of last year. Following the crash, Anne Sacoolas, who is the wife of a US intelligence official, claimed diplomatic immunity and was able to return to her home country, sparking international controversy. Yesterday, Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab indicated that changes had been made that would see justice done if another family was to end up in a similar position to that of the Dunns. Radd Seiger is the Dunn family spokesman. He's with us now. Afternoon to you, Radd. Firstly, what are you making of this latest announcement from the Foreign Office?
Ian, good afternoon. It's always good to be with you. This is a huge development today, right up there with the days when she was charged, when her extradition was sought, when the Interpol red notice was circulated. This is a huge achievement by the parents who stood up after Harry died. One of the limbs of their campaign was to make sure that this never happened again. And it appears today, or certain today, that the Foreign Secretary and his team have negotiated this amendment to this, well, you know, they call it an anomaly, we call it an absurdity, has negotiated it over the line. And we can share with your viewers this afternoon that's what has happened to this poor family will never happen again. But of course, it's a step along the way. What now has to happen is Anne Sacoolas must now come back.
Yeah. Has Charlotte and Tim, Harry's parents, managed to have a further meeting with the Foreign Secretary?
Yes, I had a meeting with Dominic Raab this morning with Harry's parents. And as always, it was a cordial meeting, but a very frank and strong exchange of views, because although we told him and congratulated him for his work, that now the real work needs to start. Because Ian, if you think about it, I think the way you introduced it was that this anomaly has been corrected. What's good law in July 2020 is, of course, good law in August 2019 when poor Harry lost his life and she was then allowed to walk away. They do not have either a moral or legal leg to stand on in not returning her. And yet I'm told this afternoon by the State Department in Washington that the only reason they're not doing it is because they are frightened that if they send somebody back who they claim did have diplomatic immunity, that would set a dangerous precedent for American diplomats around the world. And, you know, if you think about that, I mean, how tortuous is that argument? It's extraordinary, Ian. And look, you know, with your help and the help of your listeners and millions of people around the country, we have put pressure on both governments to, you know, bring a bit of closure and justice to this family. That's all they want.
And that relationship with Dominic Raab, we know, Radd, it's been tricky in the past, and there have been moments when I know that Harry's parents were not sure whether they'd even have another meeting with the Foreign Secretary. Is there a sense that some things have been smoothed over a little?
A little, but look, one of the things that you have to get used to in a campaign like this is, you know, who can you trust and who can't you trust? And look, I don't know if you or your listeners sort of studied the body language with the meeting with Secretary Pompeo yesterday. My great concern in all this is that Dominic Raab is incredibly well-intentioned. He's a father himself, but he is just the Americans' poodle or lapdog. And much as he wants to sort of stand up to them, I genuinely, looking at him in the eyes, don't feel that he is capable of insisting that she comes back. So look, you know, there's lots of concern about the way the Anne Sacoolas affair was handled last September. We've sat in many meetings with him where he has frankly not been candid, in our view, with the parents. And that's all you want when you're a grieving set of parents. You just want somebody to come and help you. Look, I did, their neighbors did, you guys in the media have, but they just simply have not been able to trust him. And, it's not been through lack of trying. And we have lots of good relationships with people in the Foreign Office, particularly with the civil service, and they are a tremendous team. But look, I think we all, to an extent, are struggling to look at any politician in the eyes at the moment and accept what they're saying. So it's a work in progress. But as a campaign, as a team, as a set of parents, we will engage with anybody to try and find a resolution, even if we are in bitter dispute with you. That's when it's most critical to sit down and see if you can work out your differences. So look, on a personal level, everything is fine, but he needs to now pull his finger out and tell us what he is going to do to bring her back. That's the critical point.
Yeah, because at the moment, she clearly isn't coming back. The Americans aren't going to make that happen. So one assumes, Radd, as far as we can ascertain here, it could only be more pressure from our government that might make that happen. Possibly a change of administration in the States might assist that, although even that could still be tricky.
Absolutely. And so, look, that's the long game. And don't forget, we've got the hearing of the judicial review in November where, the issue of whether she actually had diplomatic immunity or not will be resolved by the most senior court in London. But look, you're absolutely right. At the moment, the sending state, the United States, are refusing to send her back. You and I, much as we might like to, can't go and put her on a plane ourselves. So look, Ian, you know how international relations work. It's about cooperation, collaboration. But when one country steps out of line in terms of the international norm, you have to bring pressure to bear. And as we all saw yesterday, Dominic Raab is of a mindset that there is very little that he can actually do. Now, just a couple of examples that we can think of. If you look, we suspended the extradition treaty with Hong Kong on Monday. Let's do that with the United States. If they're not sending people here, that's one idea. We can close these bases. Look, Ian, my son turns 17 next month, and he's going to be driving around this base. What's Dominic Raab's advice to my son? We have to stop these Americans from behaving with impunity. Today was a big step, but this will not close until Anne Sacoolas comes back and does the right thing.
Radd, it's always good to have you on, sir. Thank you. Do pass on our warm wishes, as ever, to Harry's parents. Thank you. That is Radd Seiger. He's the Dunn family spokesman.